I'm calling the meeting to order. I'm Roger Wendell, Vice President of the Board, filling in for Director Morgan, who's joining us remotely, but it usually works better if who's ever controlling the meeting has a physical presence. So that's why I'm here this evening. And calling the meeting to order, we'll start with roll call. Again, I'm Roger Wendell.
Dave Wickman, Mark Martinez.
Philip Hardy here. And I see Karen on the board.
Yes, I'm here. Trying to find my computer. Hello, good evening.
Okay, all five are present. We do have a quorum. Thank you. Let's take a moment for the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll join me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, and with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Always up.
You gotta get coordinated with that. That was throwing me off.
Okay, our third agenda item is deals with the agenda. And if everybody is in agreement, I'd like to make a little swap for agenda item number 8 and have our auditors come up first so they don't have to wait a couple of hours for their presentation. Do we have any objections? No. Okay, we will do that shortly then after public comment. And again, a reminder to the public, you're limited to 5 minutes per person. We ask that it remain civil, and that's pretty much it. So do we have anybody in the room that'd like to speak? Nobody in the room, anybody online? Ludmila.
Just one point before we go to public comment. I'd like to add one agenda item if I could.
Sure, Josh, go ahead.
I'd like to have a quick discussion about the DERP number 1 change order and the DERP number 3 change order for DS construction. So there's we just got some new information today that I'd like to talk to you guys about.
Nobody's in disagreement. We will add that to the agenda when it comes to your section, Josh, District Manager. Okay, thank you. Okay, back to public comment. Anybody online? And I see Ludmila's hand go on, coming up. Ludmila, you're on.
Good evening. I think Karen Morgan was trying to butt in there. Karen, do you want to go first?
Thank you. No, I didn't raise my hand. I did want to just lodge an objection before about rearranging the agenda because we did have that as a motioned item previously in the agendas and it was voted down because I brought that up. We always do this at the last minute and we don't notice people. So I have no objections. I brought the motion forward before, but again, this would be a better way to do it is to bring it in an orderly fashion and follow the agenda instead of rearranging the agenda every meeting for the same issue. Thank you. That was it. I'm not making a motion to change it, just making it aware. Thank you.
That makes perfect sense, but how did it end up as item number 8 then?
It was voted down. So we had the motion. I don't remember who voted for it, but I made the motion to be putting it just like you're doing now. And there was a majority pushback to say, no, we can't do that all the time. We need to put it later on. And so we left it. So instead we are always, and I made this same argument, every meeting that we have a guest in, it would be more appropriate to just do it in an orderly fashion and have guest presentations first. And it was met with a majority disapproval. So
Recall that now. Okay.
yes.
Well, maybe it's something we can discuss or visit again next meeting, kind of formalize properly. Thank you. All right, Ludmila's hand is still up. Ludmila.
All right, how is everybody doing? I think Mr. David back there needs a haircut. You look a little scrunchy, Mr. David. How's everyone? Everyone looks fine. How's your arm doing, Mr. Josh? It looks like you're you could be Santa Claus pretty soon. Josh, how's your arm doing? You looks like you're still at home recuperating.
I'm getting very close.
Okay, good. Did you get a chance to somebody go out look at the Kipling place and see how they were going to fall into the into the whole, but you can talk later. I'm not supposed to indulge with people. So you better not talk back to me. Anyway, what I had concerns about was flyers, the postcards. Were you using the addresses on the mailing addresses? Do you get those back? Because that's a lot of money. I was just curious if they you were sending postcards out for the construction and the drought. Do you get a lot of those back? So I hope because that's I know we did with the Yes campaign. We were getting a lot back because we were using the wrong things. I'm just curious on that. I don't have a lot to say. Oh, well, yeah, no, civility. Somebody said about be civility on when we make our comments. I'm pretty civil. I think you ought to say that amongst the board members. Sometimes it gets really heated in there and it's very inappropriate. Maybe you should do that behind closed doors because that's not right. Anyway, it was really heated at the city council meeting last night, and I hope somebody got to see the planning meeting. That was really bad. That I don't know what was going, I mean, that was bad. Anyway, I don't have a lot. Just good evening. Thank you. Goodbye.
No, thank you. Anybody else interested in speaking public online here in the meeting room? I don't see any other hands up. Going once, twice. Public comment period is closed. What I would like to do before we go into Directors Matters, item 8A, is go over the minutes, the approval of the minutes. We're really backlogged on that. And then after that, we can go into the guests. So I took the opportunity as board secretary to look the minutes carefully over, and I had to review some of them online. I took samples online, the recordings, one, of course, one of the sets of minutes that we have no recording. So I looked that over as carefully as I could with what I remembered from the meeting. But in general, I find the May 28th, June 9th, and June 16th special meeting minutes all to be appropriate and relatively accurate. Wonder if anybody else has any comments. Let me do this. I move that we pass all three sets of minutes as approved. Do I have a second?
I second.
Hey, now, any discussion?
Yes, the May 28th minutes reflect that I was present, but I did not attend that special meeting. So that's a correction.
I can work with district manager and have that corrected. Thank you. Okay, any other comments on those three sets of minutes? All in favor of approving them? And Director Morgan, oh, okay, it's unanimous. All the three sets of minutes have been approved. Okay, skipping ahead, as we discussed a moment ago, we're going to go to Directors Matters and introduce our guests from the accounting firm. It's an action item. We need an approval of the audit report, and we have present Debbie Crady of Crady and Puka and Associates. Debbie, the floor is yours.
Good evening. As most of you know, I'm the audit partner with Crady Puka and Associates. We're a two-partner firm, so both Laura and I do the field work on the engagement. We do come to the offices and then finish up at our own locations, but we do come out and meet with Doug in person. So we'll start with what I call our communication letter. It's a 2-page document that Doug provided. Kind of in the first part, it talks about significant audit findings. Kind of in the first part of that letter. And really, this is just required communications. We're required to go over this with the board and just want to highlight some things. The first thing we always want to remind you is that these are your financial statements and management is responsible for the selection and use of the appropriate accounting policies.
Can I take a moment to add something just for the benefit of the uninitiated? This is in review of all 2025. And if I understand that correctly?
Yes.
And I think you mentioned before the meeting that the final product is due to the state by the end of this month.
Correct. By July 31st, it has to be filed by the state or it needs to be extended.
Okay, and we've had no problems in that regard. We're not running late.
No.
It just fits in with this meeting.
Yeah, so
Thanks
as
for
long as it's approved at this meeting, then I'll get the management rep letter to Doug and then we'll send it into the state.
Thank
So,
you.
and we typically handle the sending it. It's an easy process, so. And then going on, all significant accounting policies are described in note 1 to your financial statements. There were no new accounting policies adopted during this year. The most significant estimates in your statements are depreciation expense, and we do review that for reasonableness to make sure it's reasonable based on the lives of the assets. The other significant estimates are the OPEB and the pension liabilities, and we do
What was the first one you said?
the depreciation expense and all the assets.
What was the other one?
That was all. The next one's gonna be the pension and OPEB. So
Well,
depreciation,
there's a word again.
OPEB,
OPED.
sorry, I should
OPEB.
explain that. Other pension employment benefits. So para, you have plans with para, and one plan is the pension.
So that's an acronym for other.
Yeah. Other post-employment benefits,
Other post.
employment benefits, sorry. That's-
Okay. Good not know.
Yeah, so the pension is with para and the OPEB. The other post-employment benefits are the plans through para.
I
that the
have to
employees
see if I
belong
can work it into my conversations
There
in
you
life.
go.
I can say that.
So we do review those for reasonableness as well, but that we rely on the actual reports provided by para for that information. The most significant disclosures really are the pension and the OPEB plan disclosures in your statements. They start on page 16 and they're pretty extensive. We rely on para to help gather all that information and get that information into your footnotes. There's also a lot of required supplemental information related to those plans, and that's at the back in page 42 to 53. So that's pretty significant in that that's the bulk of your actual footnotes. Don't have any difficulties in dealing with management, performing or completing our audit. We did have 3 audit adjustments that I mentioned. We had an unbilled AR at the end of each year. You estimate the portion of revenue through December 31st based on your unbilled revenue. And then this year, Doug just forgot to reverse last year's before he made this year. So it was an oversight. We reversed that. And then there were 2 reclassifications from miscellaneous income against a receivable. One was for Badger overpayment that we discovered during the 2024 audit, and the Lakewood Land Partner revenue, which we discovered during 2024. So we had made those revenue entries, revenue and reduction of expense entries in 2024 and recorded receivables, and then he accidentally left them in income. So we just removed that from income in this year and put it against the receivables.
You mentioned Lakewood Land Partner.
I think it was Lakewood
Yes.
Land.
That's developer.
Yeah, so why was there money in?
That happened in 24 with the settlement agreement. Well, I think they agreed to pay like legal fees? I remember, it was like a year and a half ago.
They paid 1/2 of the environmental legal fee.
Oh, yeah, right.
Like 2,000.
Yeah.
And so that happened in 24, but
Yeah.
the money hadn't come in yet. So at that point, we recorded the reduction in that. I can't remember how it was reported. It was expense or whatever. It was recorded as receivable in 2024. So then when that money came in, he should have put it to the receivable. But I think what happened is the audit happened pretty late, and that happened. It was already in miscellaneous income, and he just didn't move it. So we got all that corrected when we came out. So those were the entries. We didn't have any past adjustments or anything else. So kind of some unusual items on those 2 things. Those are things that they don't normally have in the district. We didn't have any disagreements with management on financial accounting, reporting, or auditing matters. We will obtain a management representation letter dated as of the report date, which will be the date this is approved by the board. And just overall, we do appreciate all Doug's work. He's great to work with. Always gets us the information really timely and helps us through that process. So, any other questions?
I'd like to ask Doug a question. Doug, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Good, yeah, job well done. I'm just, if you could summarize what happened, and not to cast a cloud over this or anything, this was very minor. But if I understand it correctly, it was just a ledger entry that was incorrect. We recorded money in one ledger that should have went somewhere else. Is that your take on this?
Yeah, the timing was quite weird. Like Debbie said, these aren't normal entries, and I should have had notes paying more attention to them, just because, they kind of dragged on for a long time. I should have had that up front and ready to go, and I did not. As far as the
Oh, and that's
unbilled,
fine.
the unbilled, that's a silly mistake. That hasn't happened before. It's not going to happen again.
All right. No, you do great work. We appreciate it. Thanks for the clarification.
Absolutely.
So anything else on the communication letter or anything?
Quick question for someone. Who is Sanity Solutions? It just sounds like something that's bullshit. I'm the one that needs it.
They are an IT
This is IT, right?
vendor
Okay.
where we get our hardware from.
Okay. So it's not common.
What did they used to be called, Jeff?
So it's not a commentary.
I can't recall this right now. They used to be called, but yeah.
Probably should know that too.
Okay.
Okay, so then the next letter I'd like to go over is what we call our management recommendation letter. And this pretty much just talks about just procedures that maybe Doug could put into place to help with the errors that we've already discussed. And just going, I think the hard part is when you're in the weeds sometimes is to have that secondary review or just to go back and look at everything right before we come out and just make sure that everything is reasonable. So just kind of having that maybe glance through miscellaneous income where things can get placed before you finalize, and maybe getting Josh up to a place where he could look at them as well. It's hard when you don't have them in person, right? Just have that second set of eyes, maybe that would help. So that's really our recommendation, just to help hopefully with that overview process at the end of the audit. So
You said internal second set of eyes or?
it could be,
Your second.
So we can't be part of the control process, which would be the second set of eyes. So we always are trying to help the district with smaller districts, figure that out. Obviously, we look for that and we're going to correct that. But the theory is that they're your financial statements and we want them as correct as possible before we get them.
But isn't that kind of what you're doing for us anyway?
Yes, but to remain independent,
Yeah.
I can't be considered part of the control, is all I'm saying. We can't be, yes, we're the external control, but we can't be the internal control.
Yeah, but that's, we want whoever it was basically to be independent.
Right, and to be independent, we're not supposed to help with the entries and those kind of things.
You're talking on a daily basis or
Yeah.
monthly basis.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't be auditing your own work.
Correct. We used to be able to back in the day when I started 30 some years ago, but you don't do that anymore.
There are
So
firms that do that.
you can't. It's against our standards.
So you're saying to hire somebody.
No, I'm just saying, I think with Doug and Josh and the board, I don't think you need anybody else.
It's standard practice. The auditors can't have any relationship to
Yeah.
the people that they're auditing.
But you want somebody internally to look at the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, this is a recommendation. This is not, we don't have to have it done. It's just something we think would help strengthen the controls. So I know Josh looks at the statements, but he's newer, and I think over time to just get a feel for stuff and just Doug having time to, look back and just, have that fresh set. I mean, I do the books for some governments, and sometimes you just got to walk away and then look at the next day before you finalize stuff too. So whatever works. It's just something that we think might help, but I don't think you need to hire someone. Doug is capable, so I don't think you need to hire someone externally to review this. I think what you have in place is fine, and obviously we are going to audit it and we're going to look at the areas and we know where the issues lie and stuff. So that helps.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Okay.
Anybody have any other questions?
I have one.
Okay.
This draft, apparently there will be no changes to it then.
Well, no, that's what we're here for.
But I mean, what we've discussed so far, there's nothing to be changed.
The only thing is and then the next thing we'll go over is the draft. So
Sure.
on the big piece of information, is on the third page, and that's our opinion. So it says it's clean opinion between your financial statements are materially correct. It highlights your responsibilities and highlights our responsibilities in the audit. So this is really the piece of the audit that's from the auditor's perspective. And then the MD&A is done by Doug. So we do review that to make sure it's consistent. And then we do help with the preparation of the financial statements. So we do good footnotes, but definitely, if you see anything or have questions on anything, or if there's anything that's missed, this is the time to go over it. And then we can have any corrections for the final audit. I know Doug's read it, I've read it, obviously.
Yeah, we certainly have time to make any corrections. I've gone over a portion of it. And admittedly, it's a little bit over my head, but from what I've seen so far,
Hard of hearing, are we? Okay.
so from what I've seen so far, it looks, standard and customary.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anybody else had anything else to add, if you had a chance to look this over, any suggested changes.
Cover the whole thing.
Doug, are you comfortable with the draft as it stands?
Yes.
Well, just as an aside, we were talking earlier about this changeover from First Bank to PNC.
Yeah, I heard.
Is it too early to impact it?
Yeah, that happened. I mean, that doesn't affect this audit.
But the next one.
Well, I guess I'm hoping he has it all fixed by the time we go. I know he was swamped when I gave him the draft. He was super swamped with the PNC issues. I think there was.
So do you think we'll be okay?
Yeah, I mean, they'll get it fixed and we'll decide when we get to that point what we need to do procedure wise. I don't know what the issue was, but it doesn't affect this year's statements. It would affect.
Yeah, for clarification and for future reference, apparently PNC bought out First
I
Bank.
knew that.
And well, I mean, for
Yeah.
people maybe new to the entire
Yeah.
process, and it's been a huge undertaking, not only for us, but for the public in general. It's made the news.
We
So-
have PNC Bank.
Okay.
So we know. So I knew what that was, when he said.
That's what I was
that.
asking, when looking at all these documents, there's PNC open.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they decided to transition mid-month in June.
Yeah.
So that was fun, but we did have some hiccups. It seemed like we got them all ironed out. So we are all getting more comfortable. Things are working now, but we did have to reconcile all First Bank accounts mid-month, and then we got our PNCs that we reconciled end of month, and we didn't find any discrepancy. So I think we're good moving forward.
Okay.
So really, as far as financial statements are concerned, they're your financial statements. So if you have any questions, these are the required, required footnotes. The only thing I would make sure is that there's no contingencies out there that we're not aware of. And we did the legal letter, and I think we're good. I think we're good.
Okay.
So we do a legal letter with Dylan's firm to make sure that there's nothing out there we need to disclose.
Let me ask Phil, you've given me these things and you asked me to double check the little stamp and
Yeah.
Let's stick with the audit report if you wouldn't mind. Appreciate that. Okay, so any other thoughts, possible revisions, any questions concerning this draft audit report? Okay, I move that we adopt the report. Do we have a second? We have a second from Director Lightman. Again, any other thoughts, questions, possible revisions, any concerns?
Are you gonna, going off what Doug feels, you feel this is good to go, Doug, is that what I'm hearing? I'm sorry, Josh. Josh and Doug,
Yes, no, upon my review, it looks good to me. There's just, like they had pointed out before, a few odd transactions that took place that aren't normal for the district. So outside of those corrections, it's good for me.
Okay. Nothing else heard, all in favor? And it looks like we have a majority, all five. Thank you. Debbie, thank you.
Okay, if you have anything else, then all I have.
We know how to reach you. We appreciate
too.
your time this evening.
Reach.
Okay,
Okay, thank you so much.
excellent, well done.
Have a good evening.
Okay, that's next.
Thank you, Debbie.
Agenda item number 6, financial matters. We will. turn it
Roger,
over to Phil.
real
Sorry.
quick, if I could, we do have one more guest on, EJ. He was the item B for director's matters on the, if you wanted to get him in and out, or if you want to wait till director's matters, it's up to you guys.
Let's do it now. I apologize. I missed that. I didn't read far enough ahead. EJ, are you with us?
I am. How are you all tonight?
Good. If you're prepared, we'll let you go ahead of the financial matters. You'd be up right now.
Okay, well, when last we spoke, we were looking for an exception on our project. We changed it from 15 units down to 5. The hangup at the last time we spoke, at the last meeting, wasn't last meeting, but the last time we spoke at a meeting, was we didn't know what the cost was. And so,
I'm sorry, could you say that again, please?
oh, I'm sorry. We didn't know what, we didn't know
Repeat
what
that
the
sentence.
we didn't know what the cost was going to be, the fees basically to the district. So Josh has been kind enough to provide me with an estimate. Round number, it's about $117,000. I think 117,638 or something like that. But it's about $117,000, which is high, but we can live with it. So based on that piece of information that was missing the last time, I'm asking again for an exception so we can proceed with this project as 5 units, not as 15. We scaled it down significantly.
Josh, could you provide a little input on this? Any thoughts?
Well, yeah, it's I believe it's 5 studios. They're all less than 750 square feet each, so it's would equate out to about 3.5 single family homes based on the EQRs for that project. And I don't know if you had a chance to look at the acronym list that I provided, but those acronyms are in that.
Right, yeah, well, I think we're fine with the acronyms
Okay.
tonight.
I'm not sure if it matters, but the units are only 450 square feet each.
And Josh, again, how does that fit in with our current capacity there on Alkire?
Well, it's going to be tying into the same line that the 850 South Coors exception was made. So we have stated before that line is at capacity right now. So that would definitely be a board decision on if you would like to make an exception for this project as well.
Well, they've certainly been trying to work with us for a long time on this. I hope we can come to some kind of permanent decision. So what I'd like to do is make a motion to accept this, the 5 reduced units. Do we have a second on my motion? We do have a second from Director Hardinger. So now's a good time for discussion.
Yeah, so what are we granting today? In broad terms, but more specifically, I mean, all I remember from 2 years ago was they had to pay for like a study and didn't want to pay for the study. And so now I'm trying to remember what exactly are we granting tonight?
Well, we're going from apparently 15 units down to 5. And originally their presentation was before the Christmas holiday a couple of years ago. And at that time, the proposal was for 15 units.
Okay, that's the difference. My question is, what are we granting? Because like I said, what I remember from last time, what we were granting was permitting them to avoid paying all the fees for the studies. So that's what we were giving. Today, I'm not sure, what are we giving?
I think Director Morgan has a comment related to this. Karen?
I guess I have a little bit of the same question because we don't have plans in front of us. But is that what I'm hearing is that there are plans that have been seen, but the question that Director Wickman is asking, to go back a little bit, these lines are at capacity. And so our policy was to not have any building unless we upgraded the capacity on the line. But we have granted an exception for building on this line. And so now the question is, will there be another exception for building on this line? And I think that is, if we have definite plans for what we are doing, that is what That's the question I think Director Rickman is asking, right? We want an exception to our capacity rules, just like was granted before.
So the analogy to me is it's the same thing, and I'm getting those people's names, but they came in a few months ago and they couldn't get in because there's not enough room. And I said, one more, we can handle one more. And so this is the same thing. We're up at capacity, so we can't take any more. But if we grant, was it 3 or 5, whatever the number is, if we're allowing the 3 to 5 beyond, well, right now, we can give 0. We have no room. So then the question is, are we giving the exception that they could have the 3 to 5? I keep forgetting the numbers. Is that what we're doing tonight?
And I'd like to add something. I made it no secret when it came to 850 South Cores that I'm opposed to exceptions when it comes to capacity, and I stand with that. But we made the exception to cores. My issue here is that these 15 units came to our attention long before cores ever did. And we skipped over them and made this exception. And again, I don't want to make any exceptions, but more importantly to me, I want to be fair. So I am really torn on this. And this poor company has been trying to deal with us now for, I think it's approaching 3 years. And we made a huge mistake on 850 South Cores. And I don't know if we can move forward and provide him with this exception and then put a lid on it, make it clear publicly. We can't make any more exceptions on capacity. It's a serious issue.
So I see a capacity issue in play here. What about the other issue was that they had to do a study and it cost them money and they didn't want to spend the money? I remember that as being an issue a couple of years ago. Is that at play here tonight?
EJ, I think you had your.
Can I chime in on that then?
Yeah,
So,
you can.
yes, we were asked to provide a study a couple of years back. It was about a $6,000 study. We took exception to that. And the reason being, we spoke to your engineer at the time, and he told me wasn't necessary. We have all the information we need. The master plan, as I understand it, has now been, since that time, completely redone. So a new study would be moot. And I believe in the last meeting, Josh confirmed this. Maybe he could confirm it again.
Was that correct, Josh?
Well, there was a different property had done a study. Sam, help me remember, was that 1031 South Union?
I believe that was 1031 South Union. They did a study in the same area that we would have required from this property. That study validated the results of our sewer capacity.
1031 is down there at the swim club, right?
Correct.
So as of right now, we're saying they're not required to pay for a study, so that's not an issue. So the only issue at play here is that we allow the increase of capacity for a little bit. And same logic I had before, a little bit, I'm okay. Question is, what's a little bit? One was a little bit, that's fine. This time, I keep saying, are you 3 or 5? I've already.
It's 3.5 bars, 5 units.
That's what throws me off. It's like 2 different numbers. Okay, well, 3 is little, so I'm kind of okay with 3. 5, getting towards the edge of not quite so little. 3.5. All right, so I guess with that in mind, we are not giving him a freebie on the test. We're just giving a couple more units. Okay, I'm open-minded to give a couple more units.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you only in this case. I want to make it so clear. We can't keep operating this way.
Well,
I think a lot of errors have been made here.
I'm still gonna say, if some guy comes in with 1 or 2, you know, I might be so inclined. It's when they come in with 200, but I'm like, hell no. But you know, 1 or 2, I'm flexible.
But you can see it's already growing. Now, what are we at? We're at 4.5 if you count cores.
Well, of course.
Yeah, instead of 850 South cores.
Oh, that's the addresses. Okay. Well,
All right. So I remember my vote course was, you know, basically from the standpoint, it was just a lid. And the impact that Josh and I asked him, Josh was, what is the impact? And he said, nil, is what he told me, if I remember.
I didn't hear you.
Said nil was the
Nil.
impact.
Okay.
And so I thought, okay, but there were other factors that were involved in my decision on that, and the way that the process was handled with those people. That's what led me towards saying yes. It's that plus the nil impact. This is a little bit different. This is before my time, obviously, but it is 3.5, and I'm leaning towards, look, there were other factors in that Coors decision, and I think it was a wrong decision to do it. And I didn't want to open Pandora's box and say, okay, now we're open to anybody that come in and say, well, I wanted to. If we're going to stick with what we originally talked about, we have this limit in terms of capacity. I'm leaning right now towards no. I cannot see. I don't want to say yes, and then somebody comes back and says, well, we're just going to put in 2 more. And you brought up the point. It's really 4.5 units, and then okay, now it's 6.5, and then it's 7.5, and then it's 8.5, and it's not, and then it just grows, and then pretty soon you're going, okay, where does it stop? Okay, the last time on Coors was because it was Neil and Dunn, plus there were other factors involved, the process that family went through in terms of getting them the information and how they flowed and getting their approval. That's what led me to say, okay, this one, no,
May I?
Yes,
So
please.
there are extenuating circumstances regarding this. When we first started this project, we got approved. There was no moratorium with the district, and we moved ahead. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the project, but we've actually put the foundation in 2 years ago. Through a completely separate incident with our structural engineer, we had to stop the project. During that time, it was stopped because it had to go through a redesign because we had a bad design from our structural engineer. The property sat, but we still were under the impression that we had approval from the district for water. We had already submitted plans. We had, you know, it wasn't an issue. The capacity wasn't an issue. So then the project got held up for almost a year and a half. And once we got that resolved, then we came back to you. And again, we were at that point doing 15 units. And that's when we were told, no, we're not giving any more, you know, we're putting a moratorium on this. I'm not interested in a fight or an argument. I think that this is fair. I mean, we've been at this for almost 3 years. We spent a lot of time and money on it to get it just to a point where it's not even going to break even. We're down to 5 units, and it's not. It's just getting rid of a problem for us. And I mean, the property is there. I'm paying $10,000 a year in property taxes for a property that I can't do anything with because I don't have water and sewer connections. And I had them. I mean, we had it in writing from you guys that it was approved. We had already submitted our plans for the water lines. We were ready to go. I mean, we were ready to go, and again, it's just a bad situation. But I feel like we were in way before this other guy got an exception, and it's not like we're a new project that's just started and I'm rolling the dice here trying to get an exception. This is something we've been working on before a moratorium even existed.
What was your question, Doctor?
The question I have is, if he had prior approvals, he's indicated, why is this an issue then?
Well, the prior approval was the availability of service form, which essentially states that subject to the district's rules and regulations, the district will provide service. Those rules and regulations include if there is sufficient capacity. So yes, the property is included in the district
eligible for service, subject to capacity restrictions, and those capacity restrictions were met at the time the plans were submitted.
So he didn't have approval.
You consider preliminary approval.
So it was preliminary approval.
Right.
So if he moved forward on anything on preliminary approval, that's his fault.
That is a risk of development, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a risk that he took.
Right.
Not anything that the district did that put him in any kind of jeopardy.
Right. And I think maybe one of the things that he's referencing there is he may have spoken with district's former engineer about capacity. So he may have gotten sort of third-hand analysis of the capacity that wasn't sort of in tune with the board's direction.
But is the board liable or held up to that, or
No.
so once again it falls back on him. I don't like people who don't do their due diligence and then come back and say, well, you that's supposed to do it. No, it's on you, and I'm going through the process right now of investment I just did, and that it falls back on me. And we're told the same thing. Falls back on me. Falls back on you. It's not the board.
I don't think that's the case at all, though. I don't think that's the case at all. We weren't just hoping that we were going to get water.
What does your lawyer tell you?
Excuse me?
What does your lawyer tell you?
My lawyer tells me that I should attempt to resolve this with you before filing a lawsuit.
I just asked our lawyer, our legal position on this, and you heard what he said.
I did. I'm sorry. What exactly are you referring to? What he said? What
you had in hand that you're claiming you went forward with that gives you the basis by which you did all this work, and you think we're supposed to be held responsible for or tentatively.
I'm in no way saying you're to be held responsible. I'm simply asking.
Therefore, everything you're talking about is really a moot as far as I'm concerned, because if we did not have the capacity, we don't at the time that you started all this work, and you should have been awarded.
You did have capacity at that point. It was before you granted any except. Can I finish a sentence, please? It was granted. I could have walked in with the time at that time. The fee was $320,000 in fees. I could have walked in, paid those fees, and we would have been done. And I should have, and that's my mistake for not doing that. But we were that far along. It wasn't like, oh, we were hoping this was going to happen. We had a very firm commitment. And let's be very clear about that. We had a very firm commitment. And then things got unwound. Again, I'm not blaming anybody. I understand the capacity issue. I completely understand it. I'm simply asking for a small exception. I mean, it's 5 units that are 450 square feet. They each have 1 bathroom, 1 kitchen. I mean, they're tiny little units, and we've made enormous compromises here. I mean, we've cut this down from a 15-unit deal to a 5-unit deal. I'm just asking you to meet us, not even halfway, just a third of the way.
So what he said that he could have walked in that day and paid the $300,000 and gotten his stuff.
There may have been a period of time where he could have paid the tap fees.
But my memory that I voted against was he wanted to avoid paying the fees for the study. And my position was, no, you pay for the study. And so in my vote, that was the issue as opposed to whether there was enough capacity and stuff like that. That's kind of come more since then. But I voted on the fact that he wanted to be excluded from making the payments. And that's not an issue now.
My recollection is that the flow study cost was the first thing to come to the board.
Right.
Yes.
And that's why I voted no.
But then along from here, there was capacity. At one point he could have paid and got.
See, I don't
know if that's accurate.
That's not what I'm kind of hearing. We kind of hear 2 sides.
There may have been a period of time, depending on when this started, prior to that hydraulic model, the hydraulic model results being accepted by the board. setting that standard.
And
The 0.7.
that study was an internal study.
And the study, the flow study as a whole.
That was an internal study.
External,
External study.
engineering.
We paid for it.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so
It's our hydraulic.
our hydraulic study. So would his study have brought to light that information?
Essentially, his study would have taken his localized flows in that area and compared it to the results of the study to either validate the study as shown or to raise issues if the
To our study.
to our hydraulic model if it did not display.
And that study shows we had zero capacity.
Well, it shows that the downstream lines exceed your allowable.
Our allowed capacity. So in essence, it was our regulations were involved.
Our capacity is already over capacity. Yes. Past the point that downstream portions of your system. So we're already over the 0.7 limit.
So at what point when he could have paid this fee and gotten in?
Depending on when development started, if that was prior to that being adopted, that hydraulic model, as part of the
So we have documentation to do that.
I'm not sure when he was initially starting, but I think that was the 2020 master plan that got right hydraulic model became part of the master plan. It's kind of,
I'm just trying to
it's
come
kind
up
of-
with a circumstance that gives him, you know, yeah, there was a circumstance he's claiming that's valid.
yeah.
You know, but I'm not quite seeing it yet.
I think EJ has an additional comment.
I don't have any really more to say about this. I really feel like I'm trying to bend over backwards to accommodate a bad situation. Nobody's fault. I'm not blaming anybody. It's just a shitty situation for all parties concerned. I'm just trying to salvage this thing as best I can so it doesn't break us. I mean, I'm not a big company. This is a lot of money for us, and we've invested a ton of money in this thing. I mean, like I said, I've got a foundation in, and now instead of a 3-story building, we're doing a 1-story building, and it's going to take 20 years before this thing ever pencils out. But it's either that or I just have to, I mean, throw the whole thing away and you know, declare bankruptcy. I don't want to. I don't want to blame anybody. It's just a bad situation. I'm asking for a little bit of relief from my neighbors. I don't think it's a unreasonable request based on everything that has occurred, and that's really all I have to say about it.
And, you know, I'll say again, only because I want to add to what I said earlier. You know, I'm opposed to these kinds of exceptions, but I think they're being more than reasonable. They've gone over halfway to meet us. And it's just a complex thing that's been hanging over all of our heads for the last 2.5 years. Not to mention also that it's a bit of an eyesore where it sits now.
I agree.
And so my inclination would be to approve this exception. And we're going to look very carefully at any other request like this in the future. Every single one that comes before us, we're going to take them seriously. That's about all I have to add. Any other comments?
Welcome.
Sure.
I don't like picking up after people's messes. I never have. I've never done it, and I don't take sorry for an answer. I tell my children this. You know, I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't feed the bulldogs. I tell them. And you screw up. You gotta sit there. You gotta take your lumps. And I've taken my lumps both physically and financially and metaphorically in life. And you get involved in something, you take a gamble, and if you don't cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure that you have everything in place, and you're banking on certain things to happen, and then they don't happen, and then you sit there and you go, well, you know, I'm just looking for some help from people and that. It's tough. I mean, I wish I would have had help, a couple of weeks ago when I got.
That is not even close to what happened here. That isn't even close. We had a structural engineer. We had a structural engineer that can.
You gotta hold yourself accountable here.
I'm holding myself accountable. It's not like
you could have paid the $300,000 and gotten your tap fees. You should have done it then if you were that concerned about this, but you didn't. Now you're coming back and you have to scale it down in order to try and save your ass and get yourself out of a financial situation down to 5 units. So you come to the board and you want us to bail you out.
I'm not asking for you to bail me out. I'm asking you to be reasonable. I'm asking you to be reasonable.
Let me finish. You want us to bail you out. You want us to give you the 5 units and go against our rules and regulations. And we got people on the board here that have used this one course deal against other board members for voting for it. And now they're willing to vote you this exception on this thing. And this is just hypocritical on their part. When I want to toe the line and say no. Okay? So if this passes, then this is the reason why I don't like this kind of crap that goes on this board.
Okay, let's allow EJ to respond.
Anything I say at this point is I've said what I'm going to say. This isn't we're asking somebody to bail us out. Hardly. I'm not asking for a freebie or free services or not pay my fees. I'm paying an extremely high amount of fees. $117,000 for 5 units is exorbitant, but fine. At least it gets this thing done. It is an eyesore. I pay $10,000 a year in real estate taxes for an eyesore, and it's just becoming worth less money every time. I don't think that I should be punished because of this, because you don't want to give me a break. I need to take my lumps. That's just not good governing as far as I'm concerned. Okay, this is a problem that exists in our community. Let's try and figure out a way to resolve it, has been my approach. I've bent as far as I'm going to bend on this. I would just like something reasonable, and I think that's what I've asked for. So I have nothing more to say.
Oh, Director Morgan.
Thank you. I'd like to thank EJ for coming tonight and putting up with this dialogue again, which I am feeling is very hostile. And you have been, I understand that this is hard for everybody, but I also, it sounded like we are at a point of calling for a vote, which I agree, we're making the same arguments over again. I would like to throw in there that while I appreciate some more direct plans, if there are such things as direct plans that we would be looking at, I did want to think I was the lone no vote. No, Director Wendell and I voted against the 850 exception, and I am going to toe the line on that because we put the exception in. We put the rule in for a reason because previous boards had been doing this 1 or 2. I think we need to figure out how to do, and that's what we were going for, is to figure out how to make that capacity downstream happen. That is where I'm going to end up falling again. I don't think I think it's going to be hard for votes to look consistent for members at this point, and I don't know how to handle that, but that's where we're at with exceptions, and it gets difficult. So I am ready to call the question and put it to a vote.
Let's see if there's any additional discussion. Director Whiteman.
Yeah, one question, it doesn't make a big deal, but I'm just curious. The fees that he would be paying, would they be based upon at the time 2 years ago when this started, or today's fees?
Today's fees.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't make a big deal, just curious. I'm gonna vote in the sense that, I had a career in government and we were always implementing rules. And so the question was always hard, fast versus discretionary. And what I always remember was the, like, consistency was a hobgoblin with small markets. And the point was, every situation needs to be dealt with their own circumstances. There's no hard and fast rules. Now, with that being in mind, I want to be relatively hard and hold people to high standards, but I'm not gonna do an absolute, a yay or nay, all or nothing. And in this case, 15 struck me as being kind of high. 5 strikes me as reasonable. So I will vote for the 5.
Okay, any other comments or discussion?
Yeah, I'm Director Hardinger. I've been mulling over this decision for last week and discussed it with, members of our staff here at Green Mountain, and yes, I think we can handle this, even though we're at the capacity, and yes, even though we're doing the same thing we're doing with Coors, the Coors property. And if anything, this is getting very sticky right now. We have other properties that we're able to reasonably figure it out because of the infrastructure. The infrastructure on Alkire does not handle anymore, and we're fighting that. I understand that. But yeah, I'm gonna go with going ahead with the project, proving the project.
Okay, any other comments, discussion? All right, let's take it to a vote. All in favor of accepting EJ's latest proposal for the 5 units, 3.5 EQRs, excuse me. And it looks like we have 3 in favor, all opposed. 2 opposed. The motion passes. EJ, congratulations. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. All right, I won't take any more of your time. I'm going to go have a drink. Thank you very
Me
much.
too.
Josh, I'll get in touch with you next week and we'll work out the details.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Have a good night, gentlemen. Thank you, Karen, as well. You too. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
He can go, but I just want to put it again on the record. When I was voting for him, my principle is I will consider every situation and I will be tough, but I'm not rigid. You're kind of saying absolutely no. I'm not an absolutely yes or nay on anything. I'll look at the merits of any case and it could be yes or no. You never know which way.
Oh, I understood that from you. I understood that. I appreciate that. Okay, let's move on then. I think up next is financial matters. We're kind of skipping around. Agenda item number 6, Director Hardinger.
How do you do? We look at financial matters. I've been talking to Doug occasionally and occasionally. Everything looks very good. This recent expense of $400,000 for some infrastructure changes. I was going to ask, was that, or where was that located that we were doing some infrastructure changes with the company? ES Construction is doing some infrastructure changes
I
for.
think that was the DERP 1 and 3 that
Yes.
Josh was talking about.
Yes.
That one's Derp 2, actually. Sam has the locations of that, I believe, right, Sam?
After what?
Where Diaz is working?
Yeah, that's along Arbutus in Beach area. They're just moved over to by Green Mountain High School, down Green Mountain Drive along Yank and Florida Drive. It's just our third pay application of that particular project.
Thank you.
It was reviewed by district staff, the design engineers, and it's all accounted for.
And I didn't mean to belabor it. It was just one of the questions I did have. As far as I'm concerned, the financial matters are really good right now. And Doug has been giving us a summary every month, and that's been very helpful.
Yeah,
That's
no,
all I have.
Diaz is doing a great job once again for us this year. I think they've got 3 crews out just moving up right along with this project.
Okay. I'll make a motion then that we accept the daily monthly operating expenses and capital expenditure report. And
Second.
we do have a second. Any discussion? Bring it to a vote. All in favor? It's unanimous, all 5.
But since we're on the subject of finance, you asked me to look at these things. I'm a little unclear as these little stamps that are on here. Kind of seems like sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not, and so I'm not sure what I'm doing with these, so. I don't know if it's good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah, so I stamp all the invoices on their cover page for paid because that means processed, and then they go to the eyes of the board for initials that you reviewed them, and by approving the financial report, you're approving that as well. It's just
Well,
a physical note saying that yes, we did approve these.
well, everyone's got a stamp on the front page, but some of them have stamps in internal pages.
Yeah, those are the
Uh,
paid. If you look at the internal pages, they should just say paid with my initials already on them.
Okay,
The cover-
whatever.
Yeah, the cover page is for the board to initial.
Okay. I'm just noticing an inconsistency. No complaint.
Okay, we didn't formally cover 6B, unaudited financial and investment report. Anything you need to add for that, Phil? And we've talked a lot about this in the past. Bank accounts, cash on hand.
Anyway, can I go to the bathroom?
Yes, you can.
Let's take a moment here, though. I move that we accept 6B, unaudited financial and investment reports. We have a second from Phil. Any discussion? All in favor? The ayes have it unanimously. Okay. I propose a 5-minute break then.
Thanks for covering that though.
Okay. We will be back at 7:37. Thanks for your patience.
Good job, made the correction on this. This is the 28th, we weren't there. Yeah. Good job, got the correction on this.
Okay. Do you have a pen that's not red?
There you go.
Thank you.
I did make the correction for the 528. I removed Dylan from the
Thanks,
present
Judge.
list.
I didn't get around to looking at the minutes until today.
Dylan, that note I sent you, put that on hold.
Okay. Usually October 27th, motion to that, and was contingent on the state giving us the number. If we had fees, so it was renewed, then we renewed it was something was 7.1, 7.000 process. So we had what the people thought is over to then if you roll it over about it. Right, yeah. That was the 60 people counting for those decisions. So that's something you're talking about things that have something like this the issue. Right. Legally. Yes. In the audio. It says, what I said it was when it was. Used to be a stuff, I hate that, I have to be asked someday what I meant by off of the motion. Yeah. What place to do it? You very different. Sure.
Okay. No, I really. Well, funny, but, part of my medication, my doctor was like, you're retaining too much fluid. And I had too much fluid in my heart that had to be drained out. So now I take these pills, which makes me pee every hour.
Are you doing a lot better, Dave?
Yeah, I am a lot better.
So able to get out and walk.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty much, once it's not crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, I can go for a block or two, no problem. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, I can't go too far from the bathroom.
I got my final clean bill of health. Yeah.
Oh, good. Congratulations.
Yeah, I got 1 week ago, so it is good, and of course, now the thing is, stay good, don't allow yourself to deteriorate.
You can do it all with the trying to figure out where I'm gonna go on vacation. No, I'm like 17%.
Yeah,
Barely get out. I haven't been to patio since 1970. What's the patio in Thailand?
we're not talking about plugging.
Okay, it looks like we've all returned. Let's get back to the meeting. We'll start with agenda item number 7A, maintenance report, district reports. Josh,
All right, thank you.
I don't know if we can put this on the display or.
Yeah, Sam will get that up. Is he back?
Yes, Sam's in.
Okay.
He's all over. I haven't seen it yet. Oh, now I see. Okay. Everybody see it?
No, you're sharing the meeting.
You want me to share it through the meeting as well?
Yeah, I think that's typically what we do.
Right.
I typically don't share it. I just bring it up to the board, but I can do.
Okay. Well, it's in the packet on the website, so it is available. So we did have one May break in June. Went a couple of months without having any. It was a pretty routine small leak. 1979 ductile iron, and it was right next to a service connection, so it was due to corrosion. We replaced a valve or two valves. And as part of that asphalt bill, that was the reason that it was higher than normal. The 2 million gallon steel tank over on Zinnia and Cedar, that project is all set to go out to bid. It's going to go out on Wednesday, the 23rd, and it's going to run for 2 weeks. It's on BidNet. I think as of today, Sam, is that up today or?
It will go up probably tomorrow as soon as David has the finalized contract up.
Okay. So that project will be commencing here pretty soon. So I'm thinking for the August meeting, we'll have a bid award recommendation there. The only reason I didn't put it in the infrastructure replacement section on this one here is because it's technically maintenance. It's not any sort of replacement. Next slide, development reviews. The hotel, which is part of the package that was sent to the directors on Friday, they have presented the plans in order to correct the capacity constraints that their project would create. They're going to hire a contractor and pay for that work to be done to eliminate that issue. It's right there behind the new club car wash. The line comes down Cedar, crosses Union where it turns into Taft. And behind there's a garden shop that does like landscape materials that runs through that area there. So they're going to be rerouting and upsizing the line, tie in downstream to have their project not affect that area to create the capacity constraint. So those plans have been presented to the board for approval. If everything looks good to you guys, pretty straightforward. It's a couple of pipe segments that are being upsized, connecting downstream. Like I said, of that area where if the project went through a certain line, it created the constraint. They are alleviating that by routing around it. Sorry if you heard that leash, but that was my dog.
Well, let me pass on one thing I don't know if it's relevant, but years ago, the city was thinking about actually putting a street in back in that area. Well, obviously they didn't do it. I don't know if they're ever going to, but just throwing that out there is, that a possibility? Is people taking those things into consideration?
If memory serves me, if they were to put a street in there, that they would have to buy out the garden shop in order to create that street connection that would tie into Alameda Parkway. But yeah, I don't foresee that happening. But that's just me.
So I haven't heard anything in 10 years, so I assume it's dead, so.
These plans also have already gone through city level, the city like just current allotment.
Okay.
All right, would you like this to be brought to a vote at this time?
That is up to the board. I know you do have the the ability to have two readings if you're not comfortable approving it now, but
Yeah.
it has been presented as a. It's been approved by our engineers, Miller Associates, and the city of Lakewood as well. So.
Yeah. Okay, I move that we go ahead and approve this. Do I have a second?
Second.
We do have a second from Director Martinez.
It looks like Karen has her hand up here.
I can't see her. We're open for discussion. Director Morgan, do you have a discussion item? Go ahead.
Yeah.
I can see you now. Go ahead.
Sorry, I had a whole list of questions, but I thought we were doing that later on in the agenda. If we are doing that now, I can go ahead and.
Yeah, let's do it now.
Can you tell me, Josh, can you go a little bit more into the specifics of how much capacity and what is going on with it? Do we know?
Yeah, let me pull it up here.
Still on Bayard, right? It's for Bayard, but it's down.
Down, yeah, okay, thank you.
I'm looking for, I guess I'm looking, do we know the resultant, what is the change in the slopes? I am looking at the last page first. And it has inputs and results, but the results, like, what's the resulting percent of full depth and pressure slope? So, I mean, do you know what's the what does an input of 80% mean?
Which page are you on? I'm sorry.
The last page in the purple boxes.
Oh, thank you.
Do you know what the current depth was higher? That was this is the segment, another segment that was close to 100%, was it? And we're coming down. That's what I'm looking for. Do you have any idea what the beginning and end depth of flow is?
Sorry, I have so many tabs open here.
Totally understandable, and I will usually try and get these questions to you beforehand. I apologize, but and maybe this would, but these are the kind of things I would need to know before I could approve it.
Yeah, so the depth, the D over D for the two segments that they need to fix were one of them was at 77.1%. So like almost 0.8 D over D.
Okay.
The other one was just eclipsed 0.7 D over D. And by hold on a
And
second,
there,
I'm
that
sorry.
reroutes around those lines, and it reroutes a substantial amount of EQRs above those lines as well.
Yeah, so it takes that segment, I believe. Yeah, let me, sorry, there's just a lot of pages here. I'm trying to. Quickly read through this again.
By the way, I'm inclined not to be voting on this because it's the first time I'm hearing about it. I prefer to be in the next meeting. And we can discuss it now, but I'm not gonna be voting for it because I don't want to do things on the rush.
I'm inclined to agree with you, even though I put forth the motion.
I know, and I was not gonna vote.
Is there a provision in Robert's rules for me to withdraw the motion?
Yes.
All right. I'd like to withdraw the motion, but I'd like us to take this opportunity to discuss it. I'm going to keep the motion intact for a moment as the discussion continues.
Yeah, being on the agenda is perfectly appropriate. Preferable that we discuss issues at this meeting. Then we'll vote on next time.
Is that okay, Josh?
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. I think let me take some notes on the questions that you may have, and I will, if I could, I would present the findings at the next meeting, if that sounds appropriate to you.
That sounds good. Can I submit the questions to you privately, or do you need it now?
Either way is fine. I can
Let's
take
do it
some
off the
notes down.
clock if the directors don't mind, and I will withdraw my motion. Okay.
Let me throw in one caveat though. Yes, when you do have these answers and stuff like that, I would like to hear about it before the next meeting. So we got 30 days to send out the information, then we can mull it over. Because again, I don't want to be at the next meeting going, oh, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, stuff like that.
Yeah. I will get the questions if as soon as I get them, I'll turn them around within a day or so.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't have to be a day or two, but you know, don't take 30 days.
Yeah, no, I'll get it to you as soon as feasible.
Okay, great,
Karen,
thanks.
is that agreeable to you or yeah?
Sounds good.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Okay, and just backing up a moment, we covered all the district manager report.
Not quite.
Okay, go back to that then.
We gotta talk about. We got the Union property also. Green Mountain Swim Club. Is,
Yeah, if I could just, I'll just finish this last bullet point here, then we can go into the other ones that are not listed. And the only reason I don't have any of those other projects listed because there's been no movement or no new news on any of those at this time. So I didn't want to.
That's fine, then. Thank you.
Keep bringing that stuff up, but so we had a request for a duplex that wants to replat the property. And by doing so, they want to create a party wall where one unit owner maintains the rights to the property while providing an easement for the second unit to access the property and their space. I had let the developer know that no, per the district's rules and regulations, they'll have to be separate. If they're separate ownership, then they'll have to have separate independent water and sewer services. So I felt it was appropriate to bring that up, just to let you know kind of what some things may be happening in the background that we aren't fully aware of.
No, we appreciate that, but I don't quite understand what do they expect to gain? What are they asking for?
Well, as they're
Maybe if you
being,
can restate it.
yeah, sure. So basically, one property owner is going to be responsible for the maintenance of the property and the utilities, while internally they have a agreement amongst themselves that Unit B will pay Unit A for their portion of the utilities.
Yeah, not to waste a lot of time on this, but why? What's the reason behind it?
Well, on the question I want to add here, everything you just said strikes me as irrelevant. I don't care. But what does an issue is going back to the capacity. Are they asking us to add one more capacity on the line?
No, they're not asking for any additional capacity. They're just changing ownership of the lot. So they're replatting it with the county.
So how would that affect us? Does that affect us in any way?
Well, it's becoming essentially a duplex. And your rules and regulations require duplexes to have individual service lines to the individual structures, even though they share a wall. This structure only has one service line. So to be allowed to continue receiving service, they would either need to replumb the building, essentially, and install realistically two service lines, or request variance from the board of the rules and regulations.
But there is no capacity impact.
No, it's gotta be the same building.
Well, that was my sense.
Yeah.
Okay, that explains it. Thank you.
Yeah. And what struck me as odd was there was a statement that they said they didn't even need to talk to anybody about it. It was just they're just doing their due diligence on exploring where Green Mountain was with this sort of arrangement.
Have you encountered this before anywhere?
I did some research on it, and it seems like it's becoming, I'm not going to say a trend, but it's what they're doing is they're selling like airspace to a unit. So it's like if you were to buy a townhome and you own from like the drywall in, but you don't own any of the property, you don't do anything other than occupy your space. And that's how their agreement would work between amongst the parties is they would create like a HOA, and it'd be a two-party HOA where they would, I'm guessing, maybe set aside funds to pay for maintenance of the property and utilities. But in our rules and regs, it clearly states if there's any chance for individual ownership of a duplex or triplex, whatever the case may be, that they would have to, in essence, have their own individual service connections to the.
Yeah, I would go with that. They're just trying to avoid an additional tap. But we don't have to address it this evening. You've just brought it to our attention.
But why would they say that they didn't, do not need to check with us? If in fact, they do need a tap, if they're gonna do this.
Don't they already have a tap?
They have a tap, if they were gonna do this, they would need a second tap.
Well, they don't need a second tap, you just need to do that proper plumbing, right?
How are duplexes treated?
Well, anything new, any new development, duplex, triplex, anything more than one EQR or SFRE would create, they would have to have their own individual service connection. An example is like behind the Sonic, there's a bunch of townhomes that went in over there. I think there's 30 plus. They're all connected, but there's 30 plus meter pits in that property. So they all have their own connection.
Well, we just did this one on Union, they're planning on 5 units. So is that?
There are 5 separate taps.
It's 5 separate, well, I think that's what we approved.
Right.
It was 5 taps, right? Or what the guy on Union is,
You approved 5 taps.
5 units.
yeah, so it's 5 taps.
Well, he is not selling them individually. He is set up as
Apartments or something?
yes, it's going to be an apartment complex. So it's there is no chance for individual ownership in that scenario.
Okay, and so is he doing all the water himself like an HOA, but he's asking for the equivalent of
Correct.
5
Yep.
units worth of water?
Correct.
Okay,
3.5, same thing.
3.5,
Yeah. So it'd be like any sort of a complex that goes in, it's sized based on the necessary volume that they need for the property, but they're not selling the units individually.
Okay.
So I just thought that would be valuable information for you to chew on.
Yes, definitely prepares us for the future. All right, let's move on.
I'm sorry, can you repeat though for me? Are we making a decision on this in the future? Or you're just saying that they're doing it?
I'm saying that there is a chance that things like this may be going on that the district's not aware of. Because they have to replat through the county, but this is the first that has come to my attention.
That has asked us about it, but they're not planning on applying for a new tap. They are just going to do this, and they should. So
Well,
do we? Good.
They inquired about it, and I responded with that they would have to have independent service connections. If they are selling off that second unit for somebody else to own, they need to be independent of their neighbor.
That makes perfect sense. Is there any way we could compel the county to let us know when there's a replat in play like this?
I can definitely make that request and see what
Yeah.
their procedure is.
Because I can see this growing in popularity.
Well, and to follow up on Karen's questions, now it's on my mind too. We have to approve the taps. But this is not a tap, this is a replumbing or whatever it's called. We have to approve that as well. So that's two different areas that we get involved in. Is that my understanding?
Well, if say something like this did happen, we would probably have to make them aware of the change of use that occurred on the property, and Dylan, I'd probably have to lean on you for where we would go with that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm real clear on that, but oh well. I'm often in the dark, so.
Well, Josh, if you could maybe find out if the county could at least alert us to this in the future, because I can see people wanting to bypass the district. What's
And
next?
Dylan,
We covered.
can
Go
you
ahead.
look and see if what our options are for these change of use? Because what will happen is they go ahead and they are replumbed. And we've already been discussing this, so we need to figure out how to capture the change of use. And what our options are for people who have a duplex or they have, I think we should probably pull together a separate set of motions to have like
just lost.
a more robust definition of a duplex and an apartment and a multifamily. These all have and an ADU, they all have very specific like architectural definitions per city building code thing. I don't know if we get into all of those details, but we probably need to. I think ours are more like if you have two kitchens or something. I'm thinking we may need to expand that a little bit because if they can have an internal wall but still say that they are not a duplex because they don't have separate plumbing, that could create a problem with us by saying, oh, well, you changed your use, we should have a tap. We can turn off your water until you pay us a tap fee. I mean, I think we need to think about all of those things the way through. Does that make sense? And I'm thinking that means we're going to need to re-examine our definitions of what those units are. And I would like to see what I mean, this whole change of use thing is a big issue. We're going to have to, I think, examine more and figure out how to capture and penalize and find.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Well, I did take a look at of the duplexes that are in the district, they are all one owner. A lot of these have been around since the 60s. So our rules and regs are really clear about new construction. And or if there is a potential for individual ownership of those units, that's where that would kick in. Is we're not going to get into a scenario where, you know, unit B is affected by unit A because they're not paying the bill, things like that. So
I think we can investigate and identify ways of addressing that. There are probably resources available that are better than just us sort of putting together something ad hoc. Because I'm sure that this is not affecting only Green Mountain. So, you know, AWWA might have some like definitions that are helpful, or I have another district that adopted an ADU policy several years back that includes changing use metrics, you know, sale of the property to an unrelated owner or rental to a non-family member, change in use of greater than 10% over a 3-year running average or something like that. So there are, yeah, we can come up with ideas.
Any other discussion? All right, Josh, moving forward. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so infrastructure replacement projects. DERP 2 is, I think, a couple of weeks away from being complete. What I had requested an agenda item to speak to these change orders is the way that our infrastructure replacement projects this year were bid was we have a core project 1 and a core project 2 with the chance to expand the work to projects 3 and 4. There's a sufficient time in each window of each project for them to get the job completed. So an example is going to be their 2 will be complete in early August, which kicks in DERP 3 with a completion date of mid-November. With this recent issue regarding the traffic control and additional costs on DERP number 1, there's no way that they're going to be able to even think about DERP 4 for their additional work that was possible for them. So,
But DERP 1 is Union, right?
correct. Yeah. Sorry, they would be 1 and 3, then it's 2 and 4. I know that it's very confusing, but so we've had a conversation with DS Construction Group who's doing 2. They're almost done. They have indicated that they would be able to most likely complete 3 and 4. They have enough resources available to them, crew wise, to come out and potentially finish them all.
So they're way ahead of schedule.
They're willing to allocate more resources to the district in order to help facilitate getting the projects completed this year. So,
and according to Phil's reports, we have the money for it.
Yes. So what they've done is we just got the new bid schedule for DERP 3. And I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention. We'll have that ready for the August meeting, unless at my request I was going to ask for the authority to approve the change orders for Diaz. So it's just the additional work part. So it's money that we've expected to pay out. There's no additional money that goes to these projects. It's just, in essence, the new bid schedule kicks in.
Yeah, under those circumstances, I'd be inclined to give you that authority.
Well, what are rules now? I mean, I assume there's under a certain amount, you can do something. If it's over a certain amount, it has to go to the board. Is that how it works
It's at your discretion.
on everything?
Correct. If I request something like this and you're okay with it, at your discretion, you can grant that authority to me.
Because, well, my attitude, if it's routine, small potatoes, I don't know why we have to get involved.
Yeah.
But if we have to, we have to. Or,
Well, it is kind of a change to how we've planned this out.
Yeah. And
substantial.
What the change order entails is they've taken their original bid line item prices and just moved those into the next 2 projects. So they're not charging us any extra to start the work on these other projects. It's just it's super straightforward.
so that doesn't sound substantial. I would think we should only pay attention to things that are substantial. If they're small potatoes, Like,
I don't think it's small potatoes. This is pretty big.
is it?
Well, it's yeah. I guess using the word change order is it's a kind of misleading. It's just the approval for the new bid item. What would probably be a better term to use. That
All right, well, I move that we grant Joss the authority. Do I have a second? I have a second from Director Hardinger. Any discussion
No, we're talking about authority in this particular instance.
in this instance? Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Karen?
Karen, I can't see if Karen's got her hand up. She does,
I'm sorry. Yes, I approved.
and you're muted.
You didn't hear any of that? I'm sorry. Yes, I
No,
approved.
we did not. You are muted.
we yeah.
Use sign language.
Yes, I keep going. I don't know if you can you not hear anything? I'm still,
Now
I
we
go,
can hear
yes,
you. We
yeah.
can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the other request that I have is with DERP 1, the additional 2.5 million or whatever that dollar amount was right in that area. Yeah, Dietzler is requesting for them to give us a new bid with this additional money included in, so we're not getting billed for the initial project and then needing to dissect the change order part. So what they would do is take that change order money, combine it in with the original bid item to the new dollar amount, and it would bill through at a much cleaner rate. It would be less confusing for them to track and for Green Mountain to track. And it would show the actual cost being paid.
And Director Morgan, I think you had a bunch of comments. We cannot hear you. You are muted.
I keep turning off my muting and I show that I'm speaking and you guys still can't hear me. Are you hearing me
Now
now?
we can hear you. Don't touch anything. We can hear you.
I don't have any comments. I don't know if we can. My question for this segment is this sounds like giving them a new award, not a new bid. This is a new paperwork.
Correct.
Yeah,
It
because
would
we're
just
not putting it
incorporate
up to
that.
bid.
Correct. It would just incorporate the unforeseen money that is required for the traffic control. They would just bring that into the actual contract.
I don't know what that process looks like legally, because I mean, it is, I don't know that sounds like a single source bid to me if it's a new thing, if it's a new award, and I don't know that we can't do it. I can't
So
remember
this-
what our rules look like, but
Yeah, it's contemplated by the contract documents to update the bids schedule in response to a change order. And so you've already adopted and executed the change order. So this is updating, at least what Josh and I talked about earlier today. This is just updating the contract documents to correspond to the change order that you've already adopted.
Does this also include the changes that the city of Lakewood wants to apply to Green Mountain regarding traffic control?
Yeah, so this is incorporating the traffic control plan costs.
And we're just gonna go along with this, we're not gonna fight it?
Well, we tentatively agreed in the prior meeting that we would go with this, modifying it to save some money on the Jersey barriers, the way they're laid out and brought in at night, that kind of thing. But I think we've tentatively approved this in advance.
Yeah. And I will also say on this, I did ask for a night work exemption from the city just to see what that would look like. With a night work exemption, you can get extended work hours. Typically, you don't have to do the barrier on a night work project, but that creates a lot of extra work for the contractor. It really disrupts the residents with the
Yeah, I
noise
can't
and the
imagine
lights and things
people
like that.
living on
So
Union putting up with it, but
yeah, but I haven't heard back to my request that I sent in. So.
Okay, the point, of course, is that Green Mountain Water is the singled out and deliberately focused requirement is unusual and over the top as far as new demands by the city of Lakewood against Green Mountain Water. And from what you were saying earlier, this is a little bit unreasonable, and I'm just reiterating that point that this is a demand on Green Mountain Water, an unusual demand on Green Mountain Water that was not required before.
I thought it was a gray area based on the width of the street and the speed limit, that we were right on the margin.
That's not what I heard.
Well, so they have certain things within the traffic element that trigger a barrier to separate the traffic from the work. Typically, it's high speed, high volume, and from the research I've done and communicating with our engineers and things like that, it just doesn't, in our opinion, trigger that. We have about a 7-foot buffer between the lane of traffic and the trench. RG is doing another project up on Federal near I-76, very high traffic, 3 lanes. And they have CDOT allowed them to close 2 of the lanes with just drums. And it's not a temporary lane closure. It's up for multiple days till they get through that area. With the trench being about the same distance as the lane of travel in our scenario. So they were given an exemption up there, but Lakewood has just that they feel differently about the safety of the traffic and the worker. So
Seems to me that they aren't so interested in the safety in the other project, but they are willing to, City of Lakewood is willing to single out Green Mountain Water.
Well, we kind of hashed this out before.
yeah.
So there's a motion in play, and the idea is to give Josh authority on these issues. Do we have any other related comments or questions? All right, nothing. Let's bring it to a vote. Do we give Josh, the motion is, do we give Josh the authority? All those in favor? And it looks like it's unanimous, all 5 of us. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This will definitely help facilitate scheduling and you will still see all the pay applications presented at the monthly meetings like normal. So.
Good. Yeah, keep us apprised of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
That's all I have for my report.
Okay, we're going to move on to Director's Matters, item D, informational review workforce assessment bid list.
Yes, I did share the results from the bid. I think we got, I don't know,
And I apologize, I had those printed out and I don't know what I did with it, but if you could summarize it for us, that would be great.
there were the direction that we gave the the interested parties was to submit electronically on BidNet, so it was there, and then also to submit to Karen and I. And I think there may have been a couple that were not submitted online. So I don't know. I'll have to double check to make sure I got all of them. But my recommendation is to maybe have a couple of you start a kind of handle how we did with the band selection for the environment engineer. We have a little matrix. I kind of put one of those together just to weigh the different elements of the request of expertise and in water and sewer, things like that. So I don't know how the directors would like to select if you choose to select one of the vendors.
Director Morgan.
Is anybody willing to look at all of these and help select one? That is the question.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm certainly willing to take a look. I've been a little bit indisposed as of late. But it would be if it's helpful, I'd like to do that.
Okay,
So
well,
Josh,
thank
put me
you.
on. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Director Wendell. We will add a third title to your long list and growing. Stepping up. I am willing to do it as much. What's the deadline? Do we have a deadline? We should move it fast, right?
We didn't put in a deadline quite yet. The only deadline that we do have is once the project does kick off with the selected company that it concludes within 2 months.
Okay.
You know what, related to this, Director Morgan has reached out to me privately about evaluation criteria and so for so many of the different things we get involved in. And I just wanted to add, mostly for Karen's benefit, but Josh and I have discussed this recently, and there are countless guidelines, regulations. I can't remember what all you addressed, Josh, but we just can't indiscriminately award contracts, do hiring, those kinds of things. It's heavily regulated. It gives us a lot of flexibility. I don't know if that makes much sense or not, but we're not hiring brother-in-laws, I guess, in a nutshell. There's a lot of things that we have to pay attention to. We've talked about in the past having evaluation criteria and those kinds of things for these issues. And I guess in a nutshell, I don't believe it's needed.
Yeah. And on that, I will say that all of our contract documents that do go out for any sort of bid related contract, the district has full discretion whether if they award it to any party or no party, based on. You see, I can quote one here.
So Director
So
Morgan, I hope that
basically,
makes
oh,
sense.
sorry.
I wasn't able to articulate it the way Josh does, but we have a lot of flexibility that we don't. I can't hire my brother-in-law.
Right. So I get it. At the end of the day,
At the end of the day,
we will figure this out.
full discretion for the district.
But we can show that we're treating
Yeah.
bids and contractors and everybody, you know, we're treating them equally. We're using, you know, acceptable criteria that we've been working with for years. It's embedded in our contracts and other documents. So maybe we can put this to rest. I'm on your list. You're gonna provide that information, Josh?
Yes.
Okay. Let's move on then to 8E, action item, discuss procedures around special meetings and when it is appropriate to call them. Director Martinez, Director Morgan, is it something either of you want to address?
Well, it was just, I think we may need to look at our process and procedures, and put in place that if there's a need for a special meeting, not just a single director can ad hoc call that meeting. Maybe it requires a meeting of the minds of at least one or two or more of the directors to get together and discuss it and then say, yeah, let's go ahead and pull together that meeting and then pull the rest of the parties, all parties if necessary. If that includes legal, it includes our IT, it includes the management staff. So it's just not just directors that are involved. That's my initial take on it. That you know, I think it's a powerful power to have, and it needs to have some kind of safeguard that it doesn't get abused. So that's my opinion on it. That there's valid reasoning for calling special meetings, particularly outside of a meeting. One is called and you get a email, yeah, we're having a special meeting ad hoc. That wasn't discussed within a meeting. Now, if you're gonna have, I know we do this in-house, when we're in a meeting here, they say, well, maybe we need to have a special meeting, we all get together, we put our minds at it, and we all vote on it. Yes, we're gonna have a special meeting, blah, 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 and that's the kind of thing I think we have to have in place outside the normal, meeting process that we have. That if somebody feels there's a need for a special meeting, just can't arbitrarily go ahead and say, okay, I call Josh and say, Josh, I want to call a special meeting. And lo and behold, Josh starts putting together the meeting. I think it was going to need to require a couple meeting of minds of the directors at least two directors to agree upon it, or maybe even three to agree upon it. I mean, if the three get on a quorum, which I think would be ideal.
Dylan, what's customary with a small district for calling a special meeting in your experience?
Outside of a meeting.
Right, special meetings, yeah, I mean, what, special meetings are themselves not customary for small districts. It's pretty unusual to have more than one special meeting a year for a small district. I haven't looked at bylaws. I don't know offhand if your bylaws say anything about who can call special meetings. But the usual process that I see is that the president becomes aware of an issue requiring a meeting prior to the next regularly scheduled meeting. And it typically instructs the district manager or the district administrator to find out from the other directors whether they're available for a meeting and then schedules a sort of general consent. That's what I see most.
But a general consensus to have the meeting, not when somebody calls, get a call from Josh, well, there's a meeting next Tuesday at 11 o'clock. What?
Typically what I see is that the meeting is called for a purpose that the directors already agree is valid.
It's a best meeting.
I don't typically see disagreement among the directors of my other districts whether a meeting should be held or not, just about when it should be held.
But they're consulted.
About when?
that were consulted about having that special meeting. Not just blindside and say there is a special meeting.
I wouldn't say so necessarily. The usual course is that they're consulted about when it will be held, but I don't usually see them opining as to, I don't think we should have this meeting at all. But, I mean, I'm just giving you my experience with other districts.
It doesn't require about buy-in by everybody, because I guess the concern would be if we don't want one or two voting, then let's hold a meeting when they're not available. And, just our group's available.
Right, I mean,
And you get a quorum, you
that's
get three.
That's right, risk, I
And see,
guess.
there's issues here that cause problems, particularly, yeah.
Yeah,
So does a special meeting require acquiescence by all? Or could one person be discriminated and ignored?
yeah, I mean, that could happen. Yeah,
Could have.
could happen.
That's why I'm
Because
thinking,
there's no statutory requirement that everyone be consulted about the topic of the meeting, whether it should be held. Like, that just doesn't usually happen. That's not something that's contemplated by the laws.
we generally have an agreed upon process in place when we read these meetings, when we discuss having special meetings, and everybody agrees upon that meeting, and that there are valid reasons for the special meeting, they agree upon the timing and everything, and then everybody votes on it.
Yeah, that's
And that works.
Yeah.
And there are no issues related, falling out of that. So my contention is that outside of, having that, everybody together, if you want to have a special meeting, I would like to follow something along that same process where everybody gets some input into a special meeting so as everybody can say, yeah, I was aware of it, I mean, I can attend, or I'm not in favor of it, but it requires quorum of the directors to have that special meeting. So nobody can come back and say, well, you didn't contact me and now you voted blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you could adopt a policy like that. If you get too far down the road of the consultation, then it turns into the emails or the meeting, right? Like you're having a meeting about whether to have a meeting. So we have to be careful putting that policy together.
But yeah, it's a rabbit hole for sure. It can become a rabbit hole. It's a tough one, and I thought about it a lot from the last special meeting till tonight. It's just like, okay, we hate to see it be abused.
Right. Probably the simplest approach would be to avoid open meeting law violation risks. The policy would be 2 directors may jointly call a special meeting. But then you still have the risk of, intentionally excluding someone to gain the votes. So there's probably no perfect outcome here.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
looking in the bylaws, it does say any director will call a special meeting within 24 hours written notice.
Okay. Which I think probably tracks the statute.
And the verbiage was any director can call a meeting 24 hours.
With 24 hours notice.
24 hours on.
Which, that 24 hours notice, that's the statutory language.
Okay, and one director can do that. Of course, if they call a meeting, they've got to have at least 2 other people there to make a quorum.
Right. And then otherwise it's not a meeting.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But hypothetically, 3 people could call a meeting and leave 2 out.
Yes.
Special meetings of the board may be called upon 24-hour written notice, which shall be posted on the district website. That's what it says in the bylaws.
Yeah. Yeah, I see a real slippery slope there.
Yes.
A real slope. Yep. Can we amend that?
The bylaws? Yeah. Can amend the bylaws at any time.
I think we need to think about this and discuss this and
Well, the issue of bylaws aside, what would you change it? I mean, would you sit there and say, has to be 3 people call the meeting, 4 people call the meeting, or all 5? If one person getting left out or 2 people getting left out, devil in the details.
I'm gonna have to think about this and see, I mean, if there's any precedents out there.
Yeah, I have,
That leaves, what we have now is wide open.
I have seen, I think I've seen policies where only the president or vice president can call special meetings. I don't think that's the only. I think that's the only alteration from the normal, anybody can call a meeting.
That still leaves it wide open.
Yeah.
The other thing is, timing. Occasionally a chairman will call a special meeting if the bylaws as well for other institutions. But you have to leave so much time, either a week or something like that, for everyone to be informed. This is being called. You can't call a Monday, on Monday you can't call a special meeting on Tuesday in those circumstances. And what you're talking about is right now, the way we are looking at it, I can call a meeting on Monday and Tuesday, get whoever I want to in the meeting. And like you said, that is not exactly the spirit of appropriate meeting process or it's not an adult way for a board to act.
And that's exactly right, and that's unfortunately some things happen in our society, particularly as of late. But I would hope to try to put something in place that kind of curtail that type of thing so that we wouldn't have to worry about it. So that if there was a need for a special meeting, that it was a valid reason, and then everybody was on board and everybody was agreed upon, and then everybody would show up and then they'd be able to vote. And then it was worthwhile from the doing the business for the people and financially.
Director Morgan has a comment.
Thank you. My comment is that these are a lot of considerations that are morphing. It seems like we're morphing the conversation from there was a need for a meeting and one specific meeting you didn't agree with, and at that meeting 4 people did. So I don't see that there was any problem with the meeting except that you didn't want to. So now we're addressing one specific thing that you didn't want to do. And then through this conversation, we're talking about a minority of people who may not want to, and you're worried about excluding one person. So you're trying to make sure that the majority of people couldn't act because a minority of people wanted to do it. Just don't show up, you don't have a quorum, and then you can't act for anything anyway. But you could still get together and discuss and move forward. So at this point, there's a lot of options, and I think I don't see that there is any, if you would like to develop a policy and bring it back, but good discussion, but there's not anything specifically we're contemplating here tonight.
The meeting that we had, the last special meeting, I saw absolutely no rationale for that meeting.
Right.
There was nothing there that we had already pre-discussed and predetermined the main issue that was on the table. And then the meeting was called, and then it was a waste of time, it was a waste of money, and then for what? For nothing.
Either way.
Yeah, so now, when I bring this up, we had this conversation. And you know my feelings on it, and I'm not gonna let it slide. So I don't want to see this power, it's a power. If anybody can call a special meeting, abused. Yeah.
Can we make a recommendation?
Yeah, I'll come up with something about a policy. Yeah, I would like to send it off, and we could discuss it and vote on it.
Yeah.
All right, bring it to the next meeting. Let's move on. Everybody agreed? We've beat this dead horse? All right, good.
Animal abuse.
Legal matters, Phil and Woods.
Like, there is an executive session on the agenda. Are we intending to have that? Just for my own preparation? I can go through general legal.
Right, let's do that.
The Ravine lawsuit is, as I've mentioned, set for trial in September. It's set for the 16th and 17th of September. That's a Wednesday and a Thursday. Mediation failed, as I mentioned at the last board meeting. It's currently in the discovery phase, so the City of Lakewood will be deposing some district representatives. Josh is going to be deposed tomorrow as a representative of the district. They're asking for dates for Director Morgan, and they are also going to depose Terry Kenyon, who is an expert witness on behalf of the district. The latter two depositions haven't been set yet. My firm will also be deposing representatives of the city.
Oh, I get all these cases mixed up.
Yes.
The one we're talking about today is, or right this moment,
Yes.
the Ravine.
Yes.
Okay.
And we will be deposing a representative of the city. That has not been set yet. No real update there. The Timmons appeal has been fully submitted on the briefs. I would anticipate receiving a written opinion from the Court of Appeals.
By the way, a compliment. I read it. I thought it was very well written.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I would vote for you.
I'm not a betting man in this instance, but I look forward to seeing the opinion. Probably in about 10 weeks, I would say we'll get an opinion. Oral arguments were not requested by either party, so it'll just be on the paper. And the rezoning case has there's a lot less to do in that because it's not really a factual determination, it's just legal.
Ravine, Timmons, rezoning. Which one's
So
rezoning?
rezoning is the district sued essentially to enjoin the comprehensive rezoning plan that was adopted.
A recent thing.
Yes.
Okay.
The main body of that case was rendered moot essentially by the election. The rezoning ordinance was reversed by the vote of the people. There are other aspects of the case, including the mediation requirement for opposition to the comprehensive plan, the inclusion of a water supply element in the comprehensive plan not having been done, the process of adopting the comprehensive plan and the rezoning ordinances themselves. Those are all still live controversies in the case. So we are in the process of setting mediation for that, probably end of September, beginning of October.
And you filed pleadings already?
The lawsuit is active, yes.
I don't remember reading it.
We filed that in December.
Okay. Did you give it to us in the last week or two?
No, nothing has happened.
Oh, okay. I'm just, what I read in the last week. Okay.
Would probably all be rezone. Would all be Ravine stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I went through Ravine and Timmons. Like I said, I thought both of those were well written, and I'd vote for you, but I don't remember the rezoning. Okay, that was all.
All right, Director Morgan has a question.
Wondered if Dylan, did you hear from Josh? This might be an appropriate time for Josh to update us about the city water master plan.
I have not heard anything about the water master plan for the city of Lakewood, no.
Yeah, Friday I did receive an email in the from the city of Lakewood that they are putting together a collaborative meeting for August 16th to discuss challenges that water and sanitation districts face around capacity and reliable water and sewer service. So that just came in late Friday. So Sam and I will be attending that.
Good old Sam.
That I think will probably be informative and instructive for mediation. And I think that that fits with the timeline. If we do, probably dates in September are already closed, but so we're probably looking at October dates. I'll probably bring this back up in the August meeting for a special meeting to talk about the purposes of mediation, but I'd like to go ahead and get a date scheduled if I can. I don't have to do that in this meeting. I can do that by email. I'd like Josh to attend and a director, like usual with mediation.
We have a director interested in attending. Sounds like Director Hardinger.
You're gonna have up to two, but no more than two. If anyone else is interested.
I'm sorry, that's in September.
It'd be September or October. I'm leaning more towards October at this point. When I last looked, there were only a few dates available in September, and that was before 4th of July.
Okay. I would be interested in attending depending on the date.
Okay, I will circulate dates to both of you and see what works. And I'll circulate them to you as well, Josh.
All right, Dylan, any other legal matters or the need for an executive session?
I provided the legal letter to the auditor. You went over that in the audit. And yeah, that's it for general legal.
Okay, that concludes legal matters. Any new business? No new business? Oh, go ahead. Director Morgan.
You're skipping it, so we are not doing the executive session?
Apparently not. I asked Dylan earlier, if we need one, let's do it.
Yes, I would like one, please.
Okay, we'll go into executive session.
Need a motion and a second.
Do we have a second? And move it. All right. Director Hardinger seconded. Discussion. All in favor of executive session? Looks like it's unanimous, all five. Thank you.
As the district's attorney, it's my opinion that the discussion of the matter announced in the motion to go into executive session, that being an executive session pursuant to CRS section 246402 sub 4 sub B, for the purpose of receiving legal advice related to Lakewood Union traffic additional requirements. It constitutes a privileged attorney-client communication. I am therefore recommending that no further record be kept until the executive session has been concluded. The time is now 8:48. Dialogue box to hit also.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Time is now 9:13 and we have resumed the recording because the attorney-client communication is finished. Next agenda item is number 11, legal matters, any action resulting from the executive session. I don't believe that there are any, so Director Lindell, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, that concludes legal matters for this evening. Any new business? I don't see anybody with new business. I move that we adjourn. Do I have a second? Got a lot of seconds, all in favor.
Well, I voted against, I want to keep on going.
The majority, all five of us vote to adjourn. Thank you very much. We will see you the second Tuesday of August. Unless there happens to be a special meeting.
Yeah.